It is your overflow era. Claim it with me. It is my overflow era. I'm here. Welcome to Social Equity. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in on the podcast, know that we go live every single Wednesday at noon Central Standard Time. And today, we're talking all about being on the verge of success and what that looks like and feeling what that shift looks like in your body and embodying that success and knowing that it's yours and standing in your power, standing in your truth, claiming it, naming it, claiming it, everything that goes against it, shame it. That is your breakthrough era mantra. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Social Equity Live. I'm so glad you're here. The way this works is throughout the show. If you have any questions, just go ahead, stop me. I'm so happy to answer them. I'm so glad that you're spending this time with me. Right now I'm sipping on some Element tea, which are my little salt packets. This is not sponsored. It's just what pumps me up. And it's kind of weird. It's salt. Literally salt, and they're flavored. So this is chocolate chai, and I'm obsessed with it. I am not a coffee drinker, so this is like what works for me and my energy. And I'm all about optimizing my life, like vitamin infusions, working out, and drinking my salts instead of coffee. It's just the era I'm in. So let's get into it. I know I'm in my overflow era, and if you're watching this or listening to this, you know you're in yours too, or you're about to hit it. So the other night at 11:30 at night, I got the best email ever from my bookkeeper. And that email said the amount of revenue that we had made for the year. And I had honestly underestimated what that was going to look like. I underestimated it because I was in a season of building a new funnel. And so I knew to go all in on one thing. I needed to just drop a few clients here, drop a few clients there, and be able to really focus on my signature program. Just testing. Can someone confirm that you hear me? I want to make sure that my audio is working. Can I just get a confirmation that y'all are hearing me loud and clear? We're testing new mic. Can y'all hear me? Let me know. Someone give me a yes. Okay, good. Awesome. I'm so glad. So, I'm so glad you're here, Aline. Chris, Erat. Yes. Okay, great. So 11:30 at night, I am about to go to bed. I'm done. I'm tapped out. What a day. And I open the email and I'm just like, okay, go check these Google Docs or whatever, the Excel sheet. So I'm looking at it and I'm just like looking at the numbers, and I get to the number and I'm like, this isn't, like, there's no way. She made a mistake. So I'm not a math girl, but I was like, the math ain't mathing, because there's no way. But like, it's weird because I don't question myself. But like in this moment, I had a moment, guys, where I was like, there's no way I actually did it, because I had underestimated. So I was mathing myself, underestimating for the whole year, which is hilarious. But my math wasn't mathing. But in this moment, I questioned my bookkeeper's math. And so I took out my little sticky note and I'm looking at the screen. I'm just like, no, because that couldn't equal that if I added that and we subtracted that expense. And I'm like, I'm doing it. And I lost it. I actually lost it when I realized that we had hit the revenue goal. Now, I don't take revenue goals lightly at all. Like, I put very specific numbers everywhere. And this is a multi-six-figure number that ended in 53,000, okay? Like, I'm just going to say that. So I'm like, okay, this is what I want for the year. This goes on the bathroom window, bathroom mirror. This goes on all kinds of sticky notes around me. This goes on my mirror right here in my office. Like, I'm very intentional about setting a number, because how are you going to get to where you want to be if you don't have your eyes on the destination? Like, what are your eyes on? Where are you spending the majority of focus in your day? Are you getting distracted by things that just aren't working? Or are you thinking about a small number? Are you thinking about small potential? Good morning, Kelly. Hey, call me Cherry Bomb. Julia, welcome. Where are your eyes fixed? Because for me, it was on a very clear goal. So I knew I was going to hit this goal all year. But then in the last month, in December, I kind of was like, you know what? I'm in radical acceptance. No matter what happens, I'm so grateful because either way, it was a great year. Either way, I know that I have like doubled things from last year. So it's going to be fine. I can be grateful for whatever God gives me. I did the very best I could. And when that number came in, I'm looking at it and I'm like, the math isn't mathing. So I try to remath it on my own. The math was mathing. Hey, Lynchlins, if you have a question, go ahead and drop it. I'm not accepting video requests until I know what your question would be. So give me some clarity in the comments and then I'll see if that's an opportunity for you. So I'm in shock, but here's the crazy part. Like, this number was big, scary, audacious. I'm like, I'm going to do so good this year. I didn't just hit that number. I didn't just come close to that number almost. No, I hit over $2,000 in revenue over my goal number, which was already big, already scary, already audaciously wild. So we've got a question here. Who are you? Hi, I'm Sophia Spolino. I help women build profitable personal brands using social media strategy and business systems to scale their businesses from making less than $15,000 a month to whatever they can imagine. That is what I do. I use my 5-pillar PPB blueprint to help women go through this journey in 6 months or less in coaching with me. So that's who I am. That's what I do. Okay, so I knew in that moment when I saw it, like, this is it. We've officially broke through. Like, now the sky's the limit. I could do anything I want. Like, I've proven it to myself. If I set my eyes on something, set my eyes on a number, and I decide I can get there. And as my dad was telling me like a month ago, life and business is literally just a series of choices. And every day you get to wake up and you get to make choices that will affect everything. Your health, your business, your relationship. Like, you get to make the choices. Don't use money or something. I'm just curious. Who do you think you are good at it? And who are you is more philosophical? Like, you're not making sense. I love getting hate questions that aren't even written in proper English. Okay, so just putting my eyes on something. And I want to encourage you today that whatever your goal is, don't be afraid of having it. Don't be afraid of naming it. Don't be afraid of claiming it. I think we're so afraid of being let down and letting ourselves down, just like we've been let down in the past by other people, that we don't even trust ourselves anymore. And we feel like we're going to have just one more thing to be let down for if we make a crazy goal. And the key to all of this is making the goal and knowing you're going to love yourself and be proud of yourself just as much, even if you wouldn't have hit it. I knew I would have been just as proud of myself and just as grateful for whatever I would have been able to produce, whatever God gave me. But there was something really powerful about going into that, opening that email. Hey, Stephanie, going into opening it in radical acceptance of, hey, I probably didn't hit that goal. And that's okay. I'm probably $50,000 to $60,000 under that wild, crazy goal. Like, it's okay. I accept it. I did the very best I could. I kept my eyes on it. But you know what? It's okay. Turns out I was mathing wrong all year. And my bookkeeper was mathing right and using Excel spreadsheets. So yeah, there's that. So right now, if you're listening to this, you're either in your overflow era or you're on the verge of your overflow era, and you can feel it in your bones that you are very, very close. And so today I want to talk about the symptoms of being almost in your overflow era, and it's about to happen, and you just need to hold the faith, okay? Are y'all down to talk about that? Because I know someone needs to hear it. I know I would have needed to hear this last year. So how do you know you're about to hit your overflow era? First symptom is you have been, oh, I know you are, Eileen. I can sense it. Your content is like transformed. It's another level. You're speaking to the one right now. You've got your ideal client on lock. You know you're going into your overflow era when you have been planting seeds. Like you're like, I have been diligent. Yes, Stephanie's ready. I know it. You have been diligent in planting seeds. You've done the groundwork. If we're talking about tarot cards, you've done like your 7 of Pentacles. Like you were like, you're in it, baby. You're in it. You're just going at it. And you have not, you've realized this is a marathon, not a sprint. You have done the work every single day. You're very aware of what needs to be done to get you to where you want to be. So you're taking action every single day. You may have been in a space at some point where you overworked because you were like, I'm not letting anything stopping me from having this. And if she can do this, then I can do this. I just might need to put more effort into this in this season of life to get to where I want to be. And that's okay. And I'm going to be honest with you. Anyone who tells you like, oh, just balance all the time, work less than 8 hours a day, you're an entrepreneur, you can just work a few hours a day, 4-hour work week. Like that's bullshit because no one gets to that place without having laid the groundwork for a successful, scalable business. And that does take work, especially if you're generating revenue while you're scaling. If you're generating revenue from a different source or a different offer while you're doing the work to scale your business, sis, I'm not going to come on here and lie to your fucking face. You will do more work, but it will be worth it. It will be so worth it. The women who come into my program who also have jobs, they can do both at the same time, but they got to know it's going to be worth it. And they got to know that it's worth it to them to get to that next level. Next, you're taking action all the time. Like you are in the mindset where you see something and you're like, that's content. That's content. You're taking action every area of your life. You're like figuring out a way to incorporate it into your business. You're figuring out a way to tell stories. Hello, hello, hello. You are figuring out a way to make your life work for you. And that is the power of a profitable personal brand. If you are going through something bad or you have gone through something bad, you can rest assured that that terrible time, that broken feeling, that defeat is one day going to make you a lot of money. Because you're willing to share your story as someone with a personal brand. Hi, the Sober Manifester. So glad you're here. You are using everything. And you know that God doesn't waste anything. I have goosebumps right now. I know who needs to hear this right now. God wastes nothing. I have been through hell and back. And God has wasted nothing. And there will be people, especially as you rise. Especially as you rise. Let me get vulnerable real quick. Don't get angry. Forgiveness, love, my healing. I need to sing my own song. But the other day, I received a message from a woman. Let's just stop there. A woman. My own kind trying to take me down. Not today, Satan. The other day, I got a message from a woman who's a close family friend. I won't go into more detail than that. She's very close with my little sisters. She's never personally been extremely close to me, but she's very, very close with my family. And because of that, we developed an online, you know, those like rah-rah girl friendships where you comment on each other's stuff, or like you see they're going through a bad time and you send them a message and you're like, hey, I'm praying for you, and you mean it. You're like, hey, like whatever you're going through, like I'm a safe space to talk to. You know, those kind of girls, like you might not hang out in real life, but like you're tight. Like she's been through shit, and because you're like friends, but you're not friends, and you live like in different states, like you're able to message each other and lift each other up because like it's vulnerable, but like you're not so close. So like it feels safer to like talk to those online friends, right? Because they're like associated, but they're not too close. You know what I'm talking about? Like that is the energy. And we've encouraged each other. Like we have like rah-rah'd each other. This woman's been through hell and back. Through divorce, through custody, through so much. And I've like been like, girl, you gonna make it. You gonna make it. I'm so proud of you. You're beautiful. You're smart. Like I'm encourager. The other day I got a message that said, Sophia, I've looked at your new website and I'm really impressed by you, but your rags to riches story doesn't make sense to me. And I said, it's not a rags to riches story. I was like, it's my story. And she's like, well, I went to your family's house and you grew up very well off. You had a fairy tale childhood. And I said, I'm very blessed. I had a fairy tale childhood. I really did. I was homeschooled. We'd gone golf cart rides for break. I had a very charmed childhood. Immediately going into college, things were not so charmed. It was culture shock, and everyone's pain weighs the same, but it was culture shock from going from having a very spoiled childhood, right, to like not. And like, seriously, don't pity me for that. Like that's like LOL. Rich girl goes to college and has to tough it out on her own. Whoop-de-doo. No, that's not the issue. But since that moment where I finished college, my parents never supported anything that I did financially ever. Like it was like out on my own. I remember going to LA with like less than $4,000 that I'd saved working through college. And I just had a dream. Actually, at that time, it might have been $3,000, which $3,000 was a lot more back then. Like maybe it would be worth like $5,000 now with inflation. Yes, I love this. You're a child. You live in the energy of someone else's life. And when you leave that, your life begins. Absolutely. So I left. I went to LA. I was in the closet. I had no idea like who I was. And my uncle, who's super flaming gay, was like, Sophia, if I want you to come to this gay bar with me, which was the Abbey in West Hollywood, which if you haven't been, it's fabulous. And I was like, I'll make you a deal. Okay, because I was like evangelical Christian, which you guys can see. I still wear a cross, freaking love Jesus, but I'm gay as fudge. So I was like, I'll go to the Abbey with you if you go to church with me. And so I made him that deal, right? Like I thought I was like being so smart. Like I'm going to convert him. I'll go convert him. Anyway, I remember going to the Abbey with him and he looked at me and he goes, and I was telling him how stressed I was. I said, Uncle Kirk, I don't have any money. I'm not going to make it. I've applied to 180 jobs here out in LA. 180 jobs. Mom and dad cut me off. Like, there's no, like, I'm down to $3,000. At that point, I maybe had less. I was like, I'm scared. I don't even know. Like, I shouldn't be buying these French fries at the bar right now. And he was like, don't worry. I got you. But he was like, honey, and you know how the gay dudes do. They're fabulous. He's like, honey, you aren't going to get a job in LA with those nails. And I remember looking at him and I said, I can't afford to go get a manicure. Like, I need to make sure that I have money for health and like a down payment on an apartment. Like, I don't have money for a manicure. And it was just this sinking feeling of like, I'm not going to make it. Every entry level job was like $20 an hour. I mean, the cost of living in LA was insanely high. I ended up getting a desk job selling adult diapers to the elderly, to the incontinent, and to people with crazy fetishes, because there's a whole like 10% of that market. Don't Google this. Don't Google this at all. It's okay to Google it. It's really messed up. But they're called the adult baby diaper community. And like literally I'd be like helping people who are calling to like care for the elderly, and in between get sales calls from people who loved crunchy diapers during their sexy times. Okay, enough on that. So I worked that desk job, was not in alignment at all. Went through some weird stuff with that business, left. It was like, it was a bad situation when I left. I won't go into it, but like some weird stuff happened where I felt really uncomfortable. And I left that office. And the next job I got was for a washed up 80s actress who still thought she was God and was so mean. Like, so mean. Y'all, when I say so mean, she was the first experience of my nervous system being rattled. This woman was rich. Like, she lived in Beverly Hills on the main drag, okay? I'd pull up to this fancy house right by Mr. Chow's every day. And I kid you not, this woman hired me to produce and do social media, but I ended up doing her laundry and babysitting the daughter. And I would have to go to CVS with coupons. Yeah, V for Vendetta, you know. I'd have to go to CVS with coupons. She'd send me to CVS with coupons that were expired for water bottles. Then she would yell at me if they wouldn't accept the coupon. If I couldn't convince the manager to let me use the coupon, which was like electronic, the coupon wasn't going to process, it was expired, she'd yell at me. So like that was my experience of working for her. It was horrible. And then she tried to withhold my paycheck from me for like a month. And like, y'all, rent in LA is not cheap, and I was living paycheck to paycheck. It was rough. So anyway, I'm just letting you know, like, it wasn't always easy for me. Then I came home and I married a man I met in Los Angeles, and I had the worst marriage ever. One, I was gay and I didn't realize it, but I did everything I could to make this man love me, y'all. I did everything I could. I was so diligent in trying to communicate clearly. I was so kind. I gave of my body. Okay, now looking back, like, I'm a lesbian, but I was willing to do anything to make this man love me. Like, I was just so, like, trying to be a good Christian wife, okay? Like, and he was mean to me every day. It was like he got pleasure out of seeing me sad and unfulfilled and unloved. And I could tell him any emotional need that I had, or, hey, I need this communication, and he'd purposefully withhold it. And at one point, my bank account was emptied. He paid his back taxes with what I had saved. We were married. He could do that. But it broke me. And in that moment, I lost trust. I lost trust that I'm still working through in therapy right now, because to know someone could just take money from you, and lots of money from you, and not say anything. At that point, I was living on a $30 a week grocery budget. Have you ever been to an Aldi before? Have you ever been to an Aldi in the scariest part of town? I remember going into Whole Foods after living in my town in Florida for 6 months. And I remember saying, today I'm going to drive to Dr. Phillips, which was a very wealthy area near me. Thank you for V for Vanetta for listening. I was going to go to Whole Foods. And I remember going, I'm going to budget myself $7 for a Whole Foods dolmas, which are those grape leaves with no meat in them. I was like so excited. I was like, I'm going to go get dolmas at the Cold Bar. And that was like a 5-star meal. Like, I was so excited. I was like, I'm going to walk in this door like I go to Whole Foods all the time. And I'm going to be grateful. And I'm not going to look at anything and be sad that I can't have everything I want, or I can't have a probiotic soda too, or whatever. I just remember thinking, you're going to be grateful for these dolmas. You're going to be so grateful. He would come home and be like, why did you eat all the almonds? And I'm like, I work from home and I'm a vegetarian. Like, I have to eat something. Like, when I tell you my grocery budget was little, it was little. It was rough business. So all this to say, it got to the point where I would just pray that he would hit me because at that point I was very evangelical Christian. And I would think, well, if he hit me, then I could still be justified in me leaving because the emotional abuse wasn't enough. And we would get in the car and he would drive so fast. He would drive so fast just to scare me. And like, I'm talking like 120 miles per hour. He would do his thing where he'd put on motorcycle gloves and just start driving and look at me and just watch me scream. And then I realized if I stopped screaming, maybe he wouldn't get enjoyment from the torture and I could survive. So at that point, it was fight or flight. I'm actually getting nervous right now. I'm like, I shouldn't talk about this. But I need to explain so you know it's not a charmed life. But anyway, everyone has something. I'm not saying this for you to pity me. People have had way worse abuse. Way worse abuse. But all pain weighs the same, okay? So just hear me out. In those moments where he was going 120 miles per hour, taking curves, yelling, being absolutely like sociopathic, I'd realize I shouldn't scream, I shouldn't cry, stop crying, because that's not going to save me. And I would just shut down. And okay, give me just a moment. I can feel my arms. I have not talked about this in a long time. And I didn't plan on talking about this today, actually. And I probably should stop because I can feel my body doing a thing. Yeah. We're going to stop the story there. All this to say, I went through a lot with my ex-husband. Oh, you're welcome. It's way worse, but that is all I'm going to share today. I went through a lot. And this woman that Facebook messaged me, if you're just joining in, I'm talking about how I've risen and I've shared my story and I share my successes. And this woman had the audacity to message me the other day on Facebook, someone I know who's a close family friend. So that's just the backstory if you're just joining. So I am looking at this message and she says, "You and I both know you lived a charmed life." And I said, I did as a child, but my life wasn't easy as an adult. I have hid since I was 5 years old that I was gay. I didn't feel safe, and we don't need to go into that now, but there's a lot of reasons why I didn't feel safe to come out. And I'm so blessed now that I have parents that love me and celebrate me, but it wasn't always that way. And I went through traumatic relationships, specifically a marriage that was terrible. And during those times, I had nothing. And when I left that marriage, I left with what I could take from my little trailer park. I took everything. At that point, we had a fifth wheel RV that we had parked in a dusty trailer park in Winter Garden, Florida. And I took everything I had and I put it in a U-Haul. And I'll never forget my mom, what she did for me, because she knew I wasn't going to be brave enough to leave the narcissist, because the narcissist cycle is to circle back and pretend like they're going to change. This man never had one ounce of true apology for me until the day I was leaving and he was on his knees crying, snot covering his face. I remember looking at him and I said, "Were you going to just treat me like this forever if I wouldn't have left?" And he looked at me and he couldn't answer me. And that was all I needed to know. And so my mother flew in from Louisiana, got a hotel, made sure that I was brave enough to continue on with the plan, put everything in a U-Haul, and she drove back my little yellow Honda all the way back to Louisiana. And I drove the U-Haul, and I remember feeling a little crazy because something was set free in me. Something was set free. I was like, I'll never be talked to like that again. I will never be dismissed like that again. I will never be disregarded like that again. No one will ever have that power to do this again. Where I wished he would just hit me so I could leave and get the divorce without anyone judging me. So anyway, I'm driving home and I start recording like what I want in a partner, what I want in my business. At that point, I had an online jewelry store. I was making less than $4,000 a month, but I was making money. I mean, if I wouldn't have had the stress that I had in my life, if I wasn't working part-time jobs and just handing the husband the cash, and then also like working and not really having a strategy. Like, I didn't understand sales strategy. I didn't understand social media strategy, all the things I teach in my PPP coaching program. If I would have known this, I could have been making $10,000, $20,000 a month starting 5 years ago. I left hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table because I just didn't know. I tried to figure it out on my own, and oh my God, that was the long, hard way. And I don't want women to have to do that. That is why I do what I do. Anyway, back to this. The woman who messaged me on Facebook, it was the first thing I opened my eyes to. Normally, the first thing I do is pray, and I will open a message from my favorite team member and just pump each other up for the day. But like, this was my mistake. I opened that Facebook message from someone that I knew. Don't do this. Like, set your day off on the right foot and don't open those messages right away. But this is all part of the game, right? As you rise, there will be people who want to take you down. That's how you know you are experiencing, you're on the verge of success, because people start to be assholes. So this girl's like, well, you had a perfect life, so I don't know what you're talking about. And so I said, I don't need to prove anything to you. But I was there listening when you were going through the worst. The worst. I knew what was going on with your custody battle. I knew what was going on through the divorce, and I cheered you on. I cheered you on. I said, how dare you, very calmly, how dare you as a woman question another woman's journey? How dare you discredit my success, attempt to discredit my success, because you know of one little time frame in my life that was good. But from 22 to 30, challenge after challenge after challenge. And I hate to break it to you, life is that. Hey, Paul, I'm so glad you're here. Life is that. It is a series of challenges and choices, and business is that. But when you're about to rise, you will see people who try to discredit you. But you know your story, and I want you to use your story. I want you to use your story, because God wastes nothing. All those things that were very painful in the moment, I thought, why me? Why me, God? Why? This is terrible. I am abused. I am broken. I feel like I'm nothing. I feel like my business is failing. I feel like I'm trying, but nothing good is happening. I don't see anything happening. And sometimes you can't see from the perspective of God. You can't see, if you're climbing up a mountain, you can't see when it's going to start to get better and tilt down. Like, you don't see it all. But one day, hey, the real JC, hey. We all ask ourselves that question. One day, you will understand why. And as humans, we are not always going to understand why on our own. And we will not be able to do it in our own strength. But that's why we ask God for help and we ask people for help. Because you will get to where you want to be. Because, sister, if I could, you can. Hey, Paul, I miss you too. Let me know if you'll be at my favorite restaurant and I'll come by with my dad. It's our place. So, these are the symptoms of success. You feel like you just can't freaking go anymore, but you push through. You will push through because you are part of the 1% crazy that's actually gonna do what it takes. I had every excuse to go, oh, my nervous system needs to rest. I'm gonna take a year and work a dead-end job. Oh, it is what it is. I'm not going to make a real change. No. I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and I asked for help. I asked my grandma to live with her so I could not have any expenses, so I could build my online business and work part-time job. And she didn't even make me pay rent. I lived in a literal little shack in the outskirts of town, and every day drove to my dream neighborhood and sat in an empty field of grass, which I need to start doing this again because I want to have a dream house here. And I had all that, right? And I gave it all up because I wanted to be queer and be on my own, and not, that sounds wrong, wanted to be. I was always queer. I just came out and decided I had enough of living in the closet, right? But like, I had the house, I had the picket fence, I had the near about to have a baby, all these things. And now I'm out here going, here we go. Ground zero again. Let's go, Sophia. 2 years ago, I started on my own. About 18 months ago, now almost 2 years ago, I really started pushing. Like, I'm going to build the business of my dream. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. If she could do it, I can do it. And I did. Now, the next symptom of knowing you're about to level up big is being able to look at people who say things that hurt your feelings, like a little bit different than what happened to me. That's like someone questioning you and questioning your integrity. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You don't know my journey, sister. You don't know how I serve my clients well. Like, no one gets to do that. Not on my watch. But there will be people who tell you that you can't in the very beginning. Now, there's two different types of people here watching this live or listening to the podcast. There are the people who are going to separate themselves from those people, and the people who are going to allow themselves to be surrounded by people who aren't going any further in life. And if someone is doubting you, putting doubt in your mind, planting doubt, seeds of doubt and insecurity, and you stick around, then you're choosing that, so don't complain about it. Or you say, absolutely not. We are going to the moon. Let's go. How far can I go? I sometimes turn on Moana and it's like, I've been staring at the edge of the water. Look, that is my pump up jam, okay? How far I'll go. And I sing it to myself. Like, I'm telling you, you want to have some transformation, sing over yourself. Speak life over yourself. V for Vendetta, let's go. Let's go, babe. What you building, V for Vendetta? Tell me. Tell everybody. Let's hear it. I want to know. But you're going to turn, and one of my clients, Helena Marie Coaching, she uses this as her tagline. She turns I can't into I can. And when you start turning you can't into yes I can, then you know you are on the right path. You are on the right path to a breakthrough. Because you know what? Other people might have not been able to. But you're not them. You've got another level of grit. You've got another level of, God made me to do this. So I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it to the best of my ability with excellence. And I'm going to serve my brains out. And that is how I'm going to become successful. And if you have that mindset, you're on the verge of success. The next thing that I wanted to share is my spiritual coach. She doesn't like when I call her that. Spiritual practitioner, Reverend Sydney Finn. She just posted something and I want to share it with you. She said, stop giving up on your manifestations. We both know that you're still going to want it, even if it doesn't come in the next 5 minutes. So you may as well persist. Don't let the 3D fool you. Keep going. Which, by the way, Sydney Finn will be live with me next week at noon. She's been on my podcast twice so far. There's no one else I've had on this frequently. She is my best friend, and the energy she brings is, oh. So put it on your calendar. Next Wednesday at noon, you want to be here. Because this energy of stop giving up on your manifestations, we both know you're going to want it in 5 minutes, so cut the bullshit. When are you going to cut the bullshit? Only you know the answer to that. And that will determine when you're going to be successful and when you're going to get exactly what you want. I want you to remember your big, scary goal. Now, I've got mine right here for this year. Multiple six-figure number, ends in 5-7. Random number, not so random to me. God gave it to me. I will be making that much money this year. There's no way that we will not bring that in revenue, because I said so, because I reverse engineered it, because I'm going after it, because I will, because I am, because I be, because that's how it is. And I need you to be that confident, because I believe you can get what you want just the same. Just the same. You're coming into your overflow era. You are. Now, in the beginning, I want you to remember something. In the beginning, you will have to do whatever it takes, and that is going above and beyond, and it is putting in the work. But know that those steps can be laid out easier for you than it was for me. That's why I have the PPP coaching program, where women within 6 months build a profitable personal brand. I lay out all the steps, from the foundations of business to your offer formulation, to your content creation, to your client attraction, your funnels, and then your systems, processes, and automations. We make it so easier for you to do this, because I'm not going to lie, building a business, being an entrepreneur, that ain't for the faint of heart. But if you're still listening to this, then you know in your soul you were made for something more. You know it. Now, my coaching program, the PBB coaching program, where I have helped women literally scale to $30,000 months, is being offered at the most affordable rate it will ever be right now. Starting in February, we go up on this price. Right now, it is 60% off of what it will be in just a matter of days. If you're interested in joining and you feel the call and you were like, Sophia, I have felt like this was for me. Okay, I'm ready. Let's go all in. Let's hit those goals. I know what I need to do. DM me the word strategy, and right after this live, we can talk. I can get you in for a free strategy call. If you're serious about your business, if you're serious about growing it, like don't waste my time. But if you're serious about growing your business, and if you already have an existing business and you want to scale it, you're like, okay, Sophia, I've made like less than $10,000 a month, but I want to go bigger, less than $15,000 a month. I want to go bigger. Awesome. I have the content and client attraction strategy for you, ready for you on a silver platter. So if you're listening and you're like, Sophia, I'm ready, I'm in, DM me the word strategy on Instagram and let's have that conversation. Because the only way that you're going to get there is the only way that I got there. It was when I finally asked for help. It was when I finally said, hey, you know, I'm good at this thing, but I'm not so good at this thing, and I need to get help in this thing. And that works for every area of life. We all have strengths and weaknesses, and I'm here to help you where you may be feeling weak. If I could give you an entire blueprint that would help you scale your business, and you could make $10,000 more a month, $20,000 more a month, all for a very, 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 very small fractional investment, would you not take that? Like, if all it did was help you build the business of your dreams that could continue to bring you in revenue over and over and over, would you not take it? Because I did things the hard way. I walk so you can run, and I will run holding your hand. I'm so proud of my clients. So proud of my clients who have been able to bring in money right away. Maybe they're just getting started and they're just getting their first cash flow. That is exciting. Their first visibility. I have a client who's getting on NPR radio. I have a client who's just announced she might be getting sponsored by Ben & Jerry's. This is huge shiz. Like, I had a client that I worked with for less than 2 months grow 40,000 followers. I had a client that I worked with for 6 months, but in one of those months, grow 100,000 followers on Instagram. I know how to build a profitable personal brand, and I can show you. I can show you in 5 easy pillars, and I'm happy to walk you through it in a strategy call. So DM me the word strategy. If you're like, Sophia, this is for me, and I want to take advantage before the price goes up. The price is going to more than double in just a week. These are the symptoms of you stepping into your abundance era. It is you feeling like I'm almost there. It is you not giving up. It is you asking for help. It is you silencing anyone who tells you can't. It is you being the captain of your own ship. It is you telling your story. It is you standing in your power. It is you turning those I can'ts or you can't into yes, I can. I know I can. It's looking at me and going, if she can do this, I know it's possible for me. If this is your abundance era and you're stepping into it, drop me a claiming it or heart. Let me know that you are picking up what I'm putting down. Claim the abundance for yourself. One thing that I know for sure that I have put into a radical experience is, can I claim what I want even more confidently? Can I claim what I want even with more assurance? And if I did that, would it make a difference? And after a year of experimenting and looking at a number and saying it every day and thanking God in advance for it every day, I know what's possible. I know that I can go above and beyond what I have imagined for myself. Thank you for joining me on Social Equity Live. Now, if you want to be entered to win a $100 Amazon, I don't know why I almost said American Express, Amazon gift card, then I would love to see you share the replay of this podcast to your story and tag me, or share any podcast episode and tag me. When you do this, you'll be entered to win. Every time you do it, you get additional bonus entries, and once a month, I choose a winner. So, super easy way to win $100 on Amazon. If you enjoy the show, share it with a friend. Please. It's good for me. It's good for them. And I hope you have an amazing day. As always, go out there and go get what you want.